Hello everyone, I'm Lord Gong here. Welcome to another Dev Diary breakdown. A word from me, Lord Gong. I hope all of you are economists out there because we're talking about markets and trade deals and resources today. Yes, another Dev Diary. Dev Diary number 5, Advanced Resources, Trade, and the Market has just came out for all of us to peruse at our leisure, and honestly, I didn't want another Dev Diary this week. I am tired, folks. I am tired, and I have a headache so bad, but oh, the episodes must go on. I think that's the saying, right? But to start us all off, we have a change to additional resources and advanced resources. Your basic resources right up here, your energy, minerals, and food. I think we've already talked about this in another episode, but we are getting 2 more. They are be alloys and consumer goods. And right over here, advanced resources, or well, right now they're called strategic resources. We're getting newer versions of those. Simplified down is rare crystals, volatile motes, exotic gases, living metal, zero, dark matter, and not mentioned here, but it is imaged. There's a screenshot of it on the Dev Diary, nanites. A few of those names you'll recognize: living metal, zero, and dark matter. Yes, those are still obtainable after 2.2, but the rest of these advanced resources aren't, or at least not to my knowledge. Now, most of these advanced resources you will need for ship components and buildings. Excuse me. Upkeep for your buildings and various ships you'll need these resources. For a good example they give right here is an alloy megaforge. That is an upgrade to a standard alloy foundry, a building that produces alloys. That building will require volatile motes as upkeep, so you'll have to have volatile motes within your empire stockpiling up so you can work that building properly. Now, as usual, screenshots from the Dev Diary will be coming up throughout the video to help facilitate the just basically help you understand more about the Dev Diary. If you don't want to look at it and read it yourself, if you do, the link to the Dev Diary is in the description below. Alloys are a big change in 2.2. Right now, in the current version of Stellaris, you build your ships with minerals, and that's it. Build your ships with your minerals, and you just keep track of minerals. Alloys are another beast entirely, because now alloys will only be created. Well, you can find wild alloys out there in space, but they're very, very rare. Or at least you're never going to find a lot of alloys in space. You're primarily going to find alloys through refineries. The alloy foundry I mentioned before is a building that will provide artisan jobs or metallurgist jobs. They will produce you alloys at the expense or upkeep of minerals. You'll be trading one resource for another, so that way you'll have to watch both numbers instead of just one from now on. Alright, moving on from alloys, you'll have consumer goods. And I've mentioned this before, consumer goods aren't just brand new to 2.2. You can see it right there. Consumer goods consuming my minerals right here on screen. But consumer goods are their own thing that you'll have to produce post 2.2, and you can produce those through civilian fabricators. You'll take your minerals and you'll make goods for your people. your pops. They need consumer goods to keep them happy. Now that is actually basically it for consumer goods and alloys both. Essentially, you just need more minerals to make alloys and consumer goods. Like I said, your ships now are produced with alloys and not minerals. So if you want a big fleet, you'll need a lot of minerals and a lot of alloys. So that'll be you managing both numbers side by side, like I said previously. Next up, we'll move on to a brand new feature added in 2.2, the trade system. Trade is a new value that's been added to 2.2. It represents the civilian and private sector economies of non-Gestalt empires. If you don't know that phrase, non-Gestalt or Gestalt in general, not hive minds, not fanatic purifiers, and not robots. Robots don't trade, hive minds don't trade, and fanatic purifiers, they do internal trade, but they don't deal with the rest of the outside world. Now, all pops generate a small amount of trade based on their living standards. Trade value is primarily produced in city districts, as well as commercial zones. Those are specialty buildings you can build on your planets. They will make clerk and merchant jobs. And trade value can be found in deposits in space. You'll find a lot of trade in space, so you'll be wanting to collect that trade with space stations. And inherently, trade has no purpose, but you can make trade into energy, consumer goods, or even Unity, or a mixture of those three. So essentially, you can up your Unity output drastically via how much trade you have, or the consumer goods we mentioned earlier. If you're having trouble keeping up with consumer goods, or you just don't have enough minerals, you can use your trade to supplement your consumer goods. That way you can cut back on how many minerals you're spending. Or you can just have straight up energy boosting your energy if you need it. Now, trade is collected in space in a very interesting way, or from a planet in a very interesting way. There must be an upgraded starbase within range of the trade within the system. Upgraded starbases will automatically collect trade within their own system, so that's something helpful. And you can collect trade from the other surrounding systems by building a trade hub. And each individual trade hub, let me just get here into a map. Say if I have trade right here in Alpha Centauri. I don't have a single space station in Alpha Centauri to collect it. So right here on Earth, I would build a trade hub on Earth to collect the trade in Alpha Centauri. And that would only collect the trade here in Alpha Centauri and here in Chrysostom. I don't know how to say that one. But you would keep building up more trade hubs to reach further and further out to collect more and more trade. And once collected, trade needs to be sent to your capital. This is done automatically if the starbase is collecting the trade in the capital system, Earth, for example. But otherwise, it must be given a trade route. Say, way down here, in this little system, right here around New Oslo. Say I had a lot of trade coming in from this system and beyond that the space station was collecting. Well, it would find the quickest route back to Earth to finance whatever I wanted, the energy, the consumer goods, or the Unity. That would be its trade route. Now, trade routes, I've already mentioned some of this. As long as trade routes marks are uninterrupted to the Empire capital, the trade value will automatically be collected. Players can redraw trade routes as they see fit. Right, players can redraw trade routes around high piracy systems, closed borders, or reconnect star bases that have been cut off. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll try and edit that part out. Now, piracy is not brand new to 2.2, but it's completely different in 2.2. Piracy has nothing to do with how it is right now, where you just have a bunch of random pirates show up, they'll attack some of your outposts here, your stations, and then they'll leave. No, they'll only show up to harass your trade. Piracy will begin to accumulate along trade routes, especially routes with a high degree of trade value moving through them. For each system with piracy that the trade route passes through, a certain amount of trade value will be lost. The more pirates you have, the less trade you're collecting, so you'll want to get rid of those pirates. To combat piracy, an empire must make use of a combination of star bases and fleet patrols. All upgraded star bases will have a trade protection value. Your star bases right here will be able to protect some of your trade, just not all of it, unless you do give it buildings and attachments to help it. Which is essentially a minimum amount of trade value that will always make it through any system under their protection, regardless of the level of piracy. By default, this trade protection is only for the system that is located in, but can be extended to additional systems by building defensive modules such as hangar bays. Now also, military fleets can be given patrol orders. It is a new action for your fleet. A fleet, you'll see, this screen will be a lot bigger in 2.2 by the way. That screenshot's going to be shown off as well, but you'll be able to now grab a fleet, select a patrol, and select them how far they'll travel. You can make it the entire trade route if you'd like to, and that will remove piracy for a small amount of time while they're there. Now, as a personal recommendation, you don't want to use a very large, slow, bulky fleet filled with battleships. You'd rather use a very small, diminutive fleet filled with only a few corvettes and destroyers. Next we'll be moving on to the internal and galactic market. The internal market is a new interface where you can buy and sell resources, and resources can be bought and sold for energy credits. Energy credits are basically your money now, and I guess it makes a little sense in the space age where various aliens have to deal with each other. How would you finance everything? Well, everyone needs energy. Everyone needs to keep the lights on. So I guess that's what you trade in batteries. I've heard that joke before. I don't remember where from though. Resources can be purchased or sold either as a one-time bulk purchase, or you can be setting up monthly purchases or monthly sales. Now, your prices on the internal market will fluctuate based on supply and demand. Every time minerals are sold, prices will drop, and every time purchases are made, the prices will go up. So I hope you have a basic understanding of economics. When I say you need more food, well, you can go buy more food, but next time you need more food, you will need more money. While it isn't possible for the internal market to run out of a resource, it is possible that the prices will become prohibitively expensive or cheap if you buy or sell a lot of a particular resource. Monthly purchases can be set up with a minimum sales price or a maximum purchase price so that you can ensure that your major fluctuations in prices do not disturb your empire's economy. Essentially, you can set how much you want to buy something for or sell something for if you would like. Otherwise, it will just automatically sell it for whatever the price on the internal market is. Now, the galactic market I'm so sorry, has the same basic mechanics of the internal market. However, since there is a galaxy's worth of supplies, the prices are almost always lower. However, prices increase and decrease from buying and selling resources will affect all empires in the galaxy. When the galactic market is set up, you will lose access to your internal markets as it is absorbed into the galactic market. There are exceptions to this, for instance, races with limited diplomacy, aka fanatic purifiers, devouring swarms, and determined exterminators will never get access to the galactic market. And now there is a fee for accessing the galactic market, but there are various methods available to lower this fee, including becoming the galactic market leader. Now that, I think, is always something that's really fun to do, especially right now in 2.2. You will basically get an event to try and become the founder of the galactic market, and if you get it, well, the galactic market will be right here in your home system, your capital system, and this is really nice. You don't go clicking on the building, there's a tab for it that you go on, but it just looks nice to have an extra random buildings floating around your space. It's always just nice. Now, trade enclaves are also changed. Since the internal market has much of the same functionality as the trade enclaves used to have, they're also changing enclaves in 2.2. Instead of trading food, energy, and minerals, enclaves will now sell you rare resources in the form of monthly trade deals. And also, trade enclaves can offer you a special governor as you request. That is everything on this dev diary. I'm sorry if I sounded distracted or rushed. I know I am. Like I said, this headache is killing me. I'm hoping you at least learned something, found some of it a little interesting. I don't promise. This is probably the worst single video I've made for this series so far, and I do apologize for that. But in 2.2, I'm hoping with the updates going forward, I'll be able to make a lot better videos, as we won't have this huge, drastic kind of change unless we get Federation style stuff. Then we'll be right back into this boat of me just talking and reading the dev diary and not being able to actually show off anything. But I thank you all for once again watching the videos. Please remember to like and subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and I will see you all next time. Thank you and goodbye.